Our 2004 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, who does well at New Hampshire. How was that first practice?
First practice was great for us with our Miller Lite Dodge race trim. We unloaded and tried a couple ideas from where we were at the Milwaukee Mile testing about a month ago, and those ideas gave us some speed. And so it was nice and refreshing to go to a racetrack that, it used to be on the nationwide circuit, and to give us good data points to compare to once we got here to New Hampshire. Just with the different testing policies, you got to do what you can to find any opportunity to test at a very comparable racetrack. And it was great to go up to Milwaukee and, of course, see everybody at Miller and go out to dinner with some of the executives. So it was really a very beneficial test for us, and it might give us a shot at the pole today. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Sounds good. Questions for Kurt? Start up front with Lewis.
Lewis Frank, ESPN Magazine. Hey, Kurt. This year we've seen a lot more aggression. It seems like Pocono and last week. Do you feel more permission to lean on another car from time to time than in years past?
I wouldn't say that it's changed all that much. It's just the fact that NASCAR used to always be looking over your shoulder when you had a run-in with somebody or when you took it over the line too far, and they would step in. And it seems like now you can turn a guy over on his lid and get a 3-week probation. So it's definitely a different game. Because when I first came in 10 years ago, I ran into a couple guys at Rockingham, and they threatened to park me because I was accidentally bumping into guys. And so it's definitely a different game.
Before Chuck goes, I'm going to remind those of you in the back of the room to keep your conversations down. Thank you. Go ahead, Chuck.
Thank you for that, Denise, so everybody could hear my question. Kurt, coming up down the road, heading to Chicagoland, several weeks down the road, with your affinity for the Cubs, I would think that's one you've got on your bucket list that you want.
Yeah, I'm just not as good as my bucket list as Jimmy Johnson is. I mean, he can just say that he wants to win Bristol, and he goes and does it. And then he says he wants to go win a road course, and then it's handed to him. I mean, he's pretty good at putting something on his dartboard and nailing it. For us, Chicago's been a tough track for me over the years with motor failures or just not enough speed, I guess. My bucket list, my short-term one anyway, it's nothing near what Johnson's is I don't have a top 5 at Chicagoland Speedway, so I'm just going to start small. And if I get one there, and if I get one at Watkins Glen and one at Kansas, then I've got a top 5 on all racetracks on the circuit.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then we'll go to Dustin.
Jeff at RacingToday.com. Kurt, when you guys come back here in the fall, obviously this will be the start of the chase. Do you put more emphasis on this race because you know the odds are going to be a lot higher in September?
Yeah, I think each of the tracks that you see for the first time in the year that are in the chase, it's not like you do anything terribly different, but you definitely get into more detail with all the changes that you make. I know we're always recording temperature and, of course, overcast conditions and different things you would look at for engine tuning. But like today, I think Steve wanted to go make another mock qualifying run, but normally we only do 2. And I think we did an extra just to make sure that we had one extra minor detail ironed out so that when we come here in September, we've got all of our homework done to the best that we can have it done. I mean, like tracks like California early in the year, Atlanta, that's close to the chase. But then Texas, Phoenix, Martinsville, every track that you see the first time of the year, you really try to focus on it that much more intensely because it's part of the chase.
Sorry about that, Kurt. Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers. I want to go back and just check on something you said earlier. I was a little confused. You're saying things hadn't changed that much in terms of aggression on the track, or just, I guess, maybe our perception of things? I guess the perception seems to be there's a lot more of it out there this year, but is this just like any other year from your seat, basically? No,
there's more that's going on. It's just that there's not a penalty that you would know that was coming from NASCAR. Now it's more policed by the drivers. 10 years ago, if you got into somebody, you'd be on probation, or they'd park you for the rest of the race. I mean, we saw what happened at Atlanta earlier this year, and what had happened after that.
Does it get to a point that is it getting to a point where it's getting closer to being out of hand, and is that a case that somebody needs to step up, i.e. a driver or something, or a champion or former champion, something like that?
No, it's just we're coming off one of those rough and tumble weeks, like a road course where it's real easy to get into people. you know, or Martinsville. You know, I'm sure we'll go there, then have discussions shortly right after that. So you just see your and then we'll go to Daytona next week, and a lot of things happen at the restrictor plate races these days.
Who's next? Reed.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Jeff Gordon was just in here. He said basically after Sonoma that he was sure that there were going to be people lining up behind him. Are you in that line?
Yeah, I would say that I'm in the line, but I'm not at the top of the list. There's a lot of guys in front of me that want to go talk to Jeff Bulldozer Gordon.
Who's got the next one?
I think that might wrap it up.
That might have put the exclamation point on it. You are right. Nope, Dustin has one.
I did want to ask you, is 7 different winners so far, the first 16 races. Typically there's about 10 at this point of the season, so there are not as many. Is there some reason why only a few guys are winning that you're not seeing as much? Is it changing what it takes to win? Is this just circumstances one of these years, or is there something that you see that makes it maybe a little more challenging to win even though you've got 2 wins?
It's interesting. I mean, you have different waves of teams that get hot and then some teams that cool off. You know, right now the Gibbs guys have definitely jumped to the front with showing their strength. But then there's a bunch of guys just knocking on the door that are right there. And so it just might just be a couple more races and we'll have those 10 winners before we know it. It's really hard to say what's different or why.
Anything else for Kurt? No? Kurt, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Good luck this weekend.